Are you wondering where your cruise gratuities or tips are actually going? By the end of this video, you'll know who actually receives your tips and the small change that can save you money on every cruise. I'm Andre and welcome to Go Travels. As someone who used to work and been a passenger on cruise ships and has been traveling on a budget for years, I've got the knowledge that can help you travel no matter what your budget is. Tipping culture is big here in the States and in some other countries, and that culture definitely extends to international waters. But in my opinion, it can be a little more complicated when tipping on cruise ships. To know exactly where your tips are going on cruise ships, it's important to know the 3 different types of tips you'll come across on a cruise, so you can budget for them. Automatic gratuities. Cruise lines tend to charge a certain amount per passenger per day. For example, Carnival Cruise Lines charges standard rooms $16 per person per day. So if 2 people are on a 5-day cruise in a standard stateroom, they'll be charged $160. That's in addition to cruise fare, port fees, and any other fees you have to pay. Now, you can either prepay for these tips before your cruise starts or by the end of your cruise. Now, there is a way for you not to pay for this gratuity at all. I'll touch on that a little later. Another automatic gratuity that you'll come across on a cruise is if you get a drink at the bar, go to a specialty dining restaurant, or even get a massage at the spa. An additional gratuity is typically added onto those bills. This is usually 18 to 20%. The second type of gratuity that you'll see on cruise ships is an extra tip. These tips are on top of the automatic gratuity that you already have to pay. Now, this is typically done by writing an additional tip on a receipt that you'll receive after ordering a drink or something like that, and then it'll be charged to your room later. Or it could be a cash tip to your bartender or your room steward. Now stay with me because that's where I've lost a lot of money because I didn't really fully understand how it worked. Now the last type of tip I want to talk about is the one that happens when you're off the ship. For one, porters. Those are the people that help get your luggage out of your car or your shuttle or off the street onto the ship. It's common for people to give them a few bucks per bag. Another one is tour guides or excursion leaders. People tend to tip them too. I just wanted to mention that so you can budget for it. Now the big question, where do tips on a cruise actually go? To the cruise employees or into the cruise line's pockets? There's been lots of talk about this online recently. Cruise lines say 100% of the money from the automatic gratuities are given to crew members. So whether it's the automatic gratuity that you might have prepaid before you got on the cruise or the automatic gratuity that you paid in the bar or spa, it's split between specific crew members who you see working and some that are working behind the scenes. Now, when you directly give cash to someone on the cruise, that typically goes to them. So if you give a $20 bill to your waiter, your room attendant, or your favorite bartender, they can typically pocket that. How about the extra tip that you write on a receipt in addition to the automatic gratuity? Online, you'll probably find mixed answers to this. I've seen some people say that that's added into the pool as well, but in my personal experience talking to crew members, I've been told that that's given to them directly. Remember when I said that there is a way to take off that automatic gratuity that the cruise line charges per person per day? Well, some people will take the extra step to do that. This might be a way to save a little money, but beware, this is not easy to do. You typically have to go to customer service after the gratuity has been charged to your room. That typically happens on cruise lines the day before you get off. Now, if you've been on a cruise before, you know the line is probably the longest on the last day of the cruise and disembarkation day. So you'll probably be in line for hours trying to take off that automatic gratuity. Some people find it worth it. They'd rather give people that they interact with cash. I personally pay this amount before I even get on the cruise, so I don't have to worry about it. And I keep it on just so I know that I'm tipping the people I don't see, because there are hundreds of people working behind the scenes and I just want to make sure that they're getting those tips. I also will decide to give extra cash tips to some crew members, especially the room attendant. Also, with your time dining becoming more popular and not having the same waiter every night, it can be hard to track down everyone, so I just rather them do that for me. Now listen up, because this is the part that can save you a lot of money. When I first started cruising, I did not realize that an automatic gratuity was already taken out on things like bar drinks. So I was typically adding $1 to $3 more to the bill because I didn't know it was already taken out. Knowing this has saved me so much money already when going on cruises because those drinks add up. But if you decide that you want to give an extra tip to that person, you can do that. But just know that there is an automatic gratuity that's taking out that's going to be split amongst all of the service crew members. But personally, I typically do add a few extra dollars for bartenders that I go to on a regular basis. Now, do these tips replace a cruise employee's salaries? You might have seen some people online claiming that cruise lines are using these tips to supplement an employee's salary. So, for example, if a cruise employee makes $600 a month, which can happen depending on the position, some people believe that cruise lines would use the tips we were talking about earlier to pay that $600 a month. Now, a few cruise line leaders have said that that is not the case, that the tips are in addition to the monthly salary. Now, in all honesty, there is one cruise line that I look forward to trying, and that's Voyages. They include the tips, all these gratuities we've been talking about, in the cruise fare. I feel that cruise vacations are supposed to be a relaxing and stress-free experience. And if cruise lines did away with tipping and paid their employees to make up for that, I think people would have an even more enjoyable vacation. Now, that could just be my opinion. I could be the only one that feels that way, but please let me know what you think in the comments. Now, before you can even tip on a cruise, you gotta get there first, and some people might fly to a cruise port. Or if you want to visit any destination and don't want to break the bank, did you know that there's a cruise line that has an all-you-can-fly pass? But is it worth it? I tried Frontier's Go Wild Pass, so you don't have to. And guess what? The video's right there. All you gotta do is click. See you in the next one. Until then, travel safe.